And ladies and gentlemen, it is quarterfinal time here.
Live from beautiful Fort Myers, Florida, we welcome you to the 50th annual City of Palms Classic with the quarterfinals exclusively on League Ready. We are inside the Suncoast Credit Union Arena here on the campus of Florida Southwestern State College as you are getting ready to watch the #1 team in the nation in the Montverde Academy against the Archbishop Stepinac Crusaders. I'm John Vitas, joined with Greg Anderson. And Greg, this is the bracket as you are about to watch 6 of the top 9 teams in the nation here on our air.
And what a lucky seat we have. Year after year, the top teams from all over the country ascend upon Fort Myers, and this is going to be a good one. You got Stepinac out of New York City, basically, just a little bit north from the geography lesson you gave me a few minutes ago. But then you've got Montverde. They've got 6 seniors that are 5 that are already committed, 1 that has their Final Four. It's just a powerhouse for a high school team.
To put it in perspective for the Montverde Academy, they changed up their starting 5 for this game. They benched the number 13 player in the country. Liam McNeely will probably be one of the first guys in off the bench, as he is going to come off the bench in favor of Robert Wright III, who will be going to Baylor. What a triple header we've got. Link and Columbus coming up next. And then the winner of this game will play the winner of our nightcap between Paul VI from Northern Virginia against the IMG Academy from right here in Southwest Florida. Teams being introduced as we speak. Those are the Crusaders of Archbishop Stepinac. Both these teams extremely familiar with the City of Palms Classic and this arena. They have played here both at the City of Palms Classic and the Geico National Tournament the last few seasons, as there is the couple of headliners here in this matchup. Cooper Flagg, the unanimous #1 player in the nation. John Shire, the Duke head coach, is in attendance tonight to watch this game. And for Stepinac, it's been Boogie Fland the last few years as their #1 player, the 18th ranked player in the senior class, already committed to play for John Calipari at Kentucky.
And John, without revealing my age, what's so cool about the circle of basketball, I've seen John Shire play at high school, Glenbrook South out of the Chicago area. Now he's in attendance, obviously the head coach at Duke. And before it gets too late into the broadcast, we've got a couple birthdays in the house. Cooper Flagg, it's his 17th birthday. He's got a twin on the team, his brother Ace, so happy birthday to those two. And you heard me right. It's his 17th birthday. John, he's only 17 today. Explain.
When I saw him play on Monday, it was the best 16-year-old I've ever seen. Now he'll make a bid to see be the best 17-year-old we have ever seen. He is incredible. What blew me away, Greg, watching him live for the first time earlier in the tournament, his defensive ability. Yeah. So long at 6'9". He got 2 blocks early in that first quarter. He is a relentless pursuer of the basketball.
And John, he reclassified. He should only be a junior. So he reclassified. He's skipping his junior year. His brother Ace is a junior. Most of us wanted an extra year, the old Texas red shirt, when we were younger. He doesn't need it. He's going backwards, so he's going to be a 17-year-old entering Duke next fall.
Yeah, he'll play for Duke at the age of 17. We are ready for basketball. Montverde, the #1 ranked team in the country, about as much size as you'll ever see in a high school lineup. They will run out 8 ranked recruits. They have 11 active players on the roster. 8 of them are ranked on at least one of these scouting services. Underway, our second of 4 quarterfinals, the first of the day here on League Ready. Robert Wright kicks it out. Derek Queen, he's no stranger to this tournament. Lefty floater is good. Queen won the championship here 2 years ago as a sophomore. He is now a senior and still uncommitted. A lot of powerhouse programs looking to grab him.
Yeah, and he is the one that's uncommitted. He's his final 4, Kansas, Maryland, Houston, and Indiana.
Pretty good mix. There's a reverse. Boogie Flant getting going. His first City of Palms game. Archbishop Stepinac got a bye, so they went straight to the quarterfinals, where all of our other quarterfinalists had to win an opening round game. That was to accommodate Stepinac's existing schedule. They had a game scheduled at home in New York on Monday night, so they flew in yesterday and are playing their first game of the tournament tonight. So they're going to look to win 3 games in 3 days. As you see, head coach Pat Massaroni has been there for 9 seasons as the head coach. He's got some college coaching experience as well. New York native and a fixture up in White Plains. Very animated, very personable. Helped us out with some information on their team as Queen makes the free throw.
And John, what I loved about him is what I noticed before the game. They come out, they take their spot. Every single person working the table got a hello and a handshake from him. That's the personality.
He's comfortable here. They have been in this tournament almost every year the last half decade or so. So he's made good relationships here at the City of Palms Classic with the folks working the scoring table, as well as us up here in the booth.
So Boogie Fland, who got that first bucket, off to Kentucky next year.
Yeah, he's the top scoring option for Stepinac. You saw the starting 5 there. There's a few guys who will play at the D1 level in this starting 5 for Stepinac as Fland misses the layup. Montverde the other way. Wright Jr. gives to the corner. Curtis Givens, his jumper off the mark. Offensive rebound, though, for Asa Newell. The Georgia commit backs down his man. Turnaround, no good. Queen gets in for the offensive rebound. Queen lays it up and in.
And, John, you talked about the size. That's exactly it right there. There's not a whole lot you could do. I thought Stepinac did a good job of boxing out, but when you've got that kind of size, you're going to give up buckets like that.
The 3 from up top is off the mark from Braylon Ritvo. Long rebound tracked down by Danny Carbuccia. Fland on the near side turns the corner. Kicks. Carbuccia open for 3. Book it. Stepinac is within 1.
Carbuccia is only a junior, and he is sort of the bulldog of this team.
Yeah, really good on the ball. Coach Massaroni said he has really improved his speed on the dribble. Wright Jr. from the corner hits the 3, and Montverde leads by 4.
And that's an impressive pass by Queen. Being on the post, back to the basket, but seeing where all 4 other players were.
Now, Wright the 3rd, I beg your pardon, a unanimous top 40 recruit in the senior class. Corner 3 for Josiah Jervis is off the mark. Flag gets his hand on the rebound. Here comes Wright the 3rd, all the way through, and he scoops it in with the left. Greg, the amazing thing about Montverde's performance in the opening round against the Cannon School, 7 players scored in double digits. Nobody played more than 20 minutes in that game as the 3 from Gabriel is off the mark.
And the number 1 player in the country with the ball in his hands right now, haven't even said his name yet.
Asa Newell knocks down the 3. And just like that, it's a 9-point lead for the Eagles.
So Montverde is so loaded. Obviously, they've got a player going to Indiana on their bench right now. It's just nonstop. And you've got a bunch of ranked guys on the bench that are not seniors. At any point, no matter who they're playing, they could blow a team out like they did the other night against Cannon, who's a really good high school team out of North Carolina.
Yeah, they came out and won today in their consolation game. There's Kevin Boyle of New Jersey fame when he was at St. Patrick's. Now over a decade here in Florida. Lob to the back door, and Flag throws it down.
Another nice assist from Queen.
Well, you can't leave Flag uncovered like that on the low block. Easy 2 for him.
It was a nice designed sideline out of bounds coming off of that ball that went out.
Caressi missed the three. Flan the same. Offensive rebound. Put back is short from Jordan Gabriel. Right the third with an around the back dribble. Knifes through. Dishes to Queen, who draws the foul.
And if you're Jordan Gabriel there, you got a nice offensive rebound, but he just shot it way too quickly. But you don't blame him. When you're going up against guys that are 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", you automatically assume somebody's going to be right there to defend.
Queen's free throw is pure. I think whoever plays Montverde has a significant adjustment period to the size. They'll probably turn it over less and less as the game goes along, as you get comfortable with the length of the opponent. But if Montverde can build a double-digit lead in the first quarter, it is really tough to get back in it.
And you saw that a couple weeks ago. They played Columbus, and it was a nationally televised game on ESPN, and it was a blowout very early on. Columbus made a game of it, but it's exactly what you just described.
And Stepinac, a top 10 team in the country, struggling right now. Flynn gets to the rim, and they're going to call basket interference on Queen. And so Flynn will get credit for the two.
So if you're Stepinac, you obviously need another player to step up, especially offensively. That's a great drive.
You can see Queen's hand went through the bottom of the basket.
Yeah, and you've talked to Stepinac coach quite a bit. Ritvo is the guy that he is promoting, that he averages just under 20 points a game. He's got a bunch of interest, a couple offers.
Yeah, Ritvo is a force as a forward for Stepinac. Fland, a long three, and he buries it. Flag was closing out in a hurry, but Boogie gets it off in time.
That was a big three-pointer to keep them within distance here, just down 8.
Right the third, drew some contact and gets the foul call. It'll be against Carbuccia as you get another look at the kick and the extra pass for Fland.
So McNeely coming in for Montverde after this free throw. So we've talked about all of the guys that have signed. He is heading up to Indiana to play in the Big Ten. And it's sort of an embarrassment of riches where your first guy off the bench is a Power 5 guy.
And 6'8" to add to the length that's already out there. You've got Queen and Newell at 6'10", Flag at 6'9", Gaskins and McNeely at 6'8". That's a high school team. Floater off the window, too strong. Long distance pass for Flag, who goes up strong and lays it in. Boogie Flan not wasting any time, sends it the other way. Caressi gets stuck in the corner. It'll stay with Stepinac.
So that was great vision by Wright to see the floor. He had two guys to choose from there. Gave the birthday boy a nice little long distance pass for an easy lay-in.
Flan into the backcourt to get that. Montverde extends so far out beyond the arc on defense, something we noticed on Monday night as well. They will defend you nearly to half court. Greg, I would assume that's a coach who's confident in his team's ability to help. And there's a great finish. The aforementioned Braylon Ritvo with a chance for a three-point play.
Yeah, and a couple possessions ago when Fland had a drive to the basket and there was that offensive or defensive goaltending, that was the first thing Coach Boyle was off the bench. Somebody didn't rotate in time.
Ritvo misses the free throw. As Greg said earlier, Coach Massaroni felt strongly that Ritvo deserves a high-level opportunity. He is very appreciative of his 2 D1 offers right now from Quinnipiac and NJIT, but there should be more offers coming. He's been talking to about a dozen different Division I programs. Here's Flans, met by McNeely, dribbles around the back. Well, they trust McNeely to guard the smaller Boogie Flans, who splits the defense, gets all the way through, and lays it off the window. He wants a goaltend. It'll just be a conventional foul, and it's going to be number 3, Curtis Givens.
Yeah, Boogie Fland has got everything. There's a reason he's going to Kentucky. But we've seen him shoot from long distance. We've seen him get to the basket. His elusive ability with the ball.
He's got some size, too. He's a long 6'3", which at the next level is plenty of size for a point guard. Second free throw is good. Back down to single digits. Archbishop Stepinac starting to find their legs. Final 90 seconds here in the opening quarter. As you see, Fland already with 8 points. Queen cross court. Givens thought about it, dumps it for Queen. Lefty hook, no good, but Flag is there to throw it down.
Queen just takes up so much space in the paint, and he does a great job of getting open. That is such an underrated thing to notice. His footwork, his body positioning, always being in the right spot. And, of course, a nice little dump in by Cooper Flag for the easy bucket.
The Flag went up high and threw it down with 2. Fland gets through the lane, kicks. Caressi pulls up from 15, missed it, and Queen reaches back for the rebound.
Yeah, I think Caressi needed to just shoot that three-pointer.
Oh, Flag still almost stuffed it off the carom. It goes the other way, though. On the drive, Caressi got it off over Flag, but it's no good. And here comes Flag with Queen ahead of the pack. He'll turn and lay it in.
So, John, I don't know if your mind is going this way. You call a lot of college games locally, FGCU and FSW Division I JUCO. You always wonder, like, can a team like this play against a mid-major type Division I team?
I think that's a resounding yes.
However, the strength and the physicality of the college game is what separates them. And, yeah, they could play with them talent-wise, but what I've noticed here is just the ultimate how big and strong the college guys are.
Yes, no question. I think Montverde is a giant exception to that rule.
Yes.
I think they are that good where they could go into a Division I league right now and win a lot of games. Not to interrupt this brilliant shot we have here of Cooper Flag, the #1 player in the country, but one of the few people in the basketball world that may be more famous than Cooper just walked through the door as Carmelo Anthony has taken a seat on the other side of the court. So you've got John Shire in one corner, Carmelo Anthony in a second, Cooper Flag and Boogie Fland on the other side. What a night for basketball here at the City of Palms Classic, the 50th annual, dating back into the 1970s here in Southwest Florida. This tournament just gets better and better every year. And Greg, I don't know if we've ever had the luxury of seeing the top 5 players in the senior class all at the tournament in the same year, but that's what we have this season.
Yeah, it's incredible. There's not enough adjectives to describe the talent that's going to be in here that has been in here all week. Just game after game. And you've got a team like Stepinac here, Archbishop Stepinac. You've got a Kentucky player. You've got another Division I player. That alone should put you in one of the top spots. But now you're going up against, forget about the 6 seniors, that the 5 that have already committed, the other one. You've got juniors and sophomores that are ranked in their class that they're going to be the same thing in the next couple of years. The talent is unbelievable.
Yeah, and Greg, you're spot on. What stands out to me just in the first quarter watching this game is the improvement that these players have made, because we saw Stepinac in this tournament the last 2 years, and we saw Montverde 2 years ago when Derek Queen was coming off the bench. The improvement from guys like Fland and Queen that we're seeing in this game is incredible, as Fland's 3 is off the mark. I didn't know those guys could get any better than they were, but they have.
Well, we'll have plenty of time, I think, to talk about it, but another really cool aspect of the Flag family,
a foul underneath, I believe it'll be on the floor,
is Cooper Flag, as a freshman, playing up at a public school in Maine, played with his older brother Hunter, who was a senior. Then you've got Cooper's twin brother Ace. Those 3 won a state championship. Cooper was the player of the year as a freshman in the state of Maine. And Cooper and his brother decided to transfer down here after that year. But it's just incredible how quickly you get on the radar. And I don't know about you, but one of the first times he got on my radar was a little Twitter clip of him and LeBron talking to him after a summer league game or something like that. And I'm like, oh, this kid's pretty good. Looking eye to eye to LeBron as well.
And he's got close to as much hype as LeBron had. I mean, if you made a list of maybe the 5 most hyped players since LeBron James, Cooper Flagg's probably on it at this point, as his legend has only grown in the last few months. That one goes out of bounds back over to Montverde.
That's a great no call, by the way, just to get back into the basketball portion of this broadcast. Asa Newell tried to take a charge, but I thought he sold it out too early. And I love it when officials will not give the defensive player, unless they're really taking that charge and holding their body steady. Thought Newell started dropping a little too early.
Flag falling from the rafters. Happy birthday, young man. 2 more.
That's ridiculous. I saw that coming, John, and I tried to quiet down for you.
Very different approach defensively from the first 2 opponents for Montverde as Ritvo hits the bank shot. The Cannon School really did key in on Flag. Here I feel like Stepinac is playing this pretty straight up. Man-to-man defense, they understand how good all 5 players are on the court, but Flag has been able to generate some opportunities. There's a 3 for Robert Wright III.
But I think that's a great point you bring up, because what's the point? All right, so you try to take away the number 1 player in the country. You still have 4 other guys ranked in the top 50. It's a no-win situation for all 11 teams so far that have tried to play Montverde.
Not sure if we mentioned it yet, but the last 4 times that Montverde has been in this tournament, they've won it, which is not easy to do. Of course, we mentioned how 7 ranked players are in these quarterfinals as you get another look at the dunk from Flag. But they actually took last year off. Them and IMG both sat out last year's tournament just to mix it up a little bit from previous seasons. But the first year after COVID 2021, Montverde ran the table, and then the 3 years prior to COVID, 2017 to 2019, they won the City of Palms Classic. And the Scotty Barnes team was labeled the best City of Palms team ever in 2019. Fland gets all the way through, gets blocked. And here comes Robert Wright III to the corner. McNeely pulls the trigger and hits. 35 points in only 10 minutes for the Montverde Academy.
Well, what did they score the other night? 110?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was running clock through the 4th quarter, so they could have had 120.
That's going to be a 30-second time.
John, that's a interesting thing you just brought up, because I don't know what is the running clock at the City of Palms.
35 points.
Okay.
So if Montverde goes up by 35, the clock will run on dead balls.
So that's the same. So in Florida, high school, if you're up anytime 35 in the second half, it automatically becomes a running clock. Wasn't sure if the City of Palms was doing
the rules here are some sort of a mixture.
Yep.
A lot of the Florida rules do apply. They have added a shot clock here, which a lot of states do not have, a 35-second shot clock here at the City of Palms, and a full reset as you look at the commitments from the Montverde Academy. Derek Queen, the big question mark with the Final Four that Greg mentioned earlier. So they have the shot clock here. We also get the benefit of live stats both in the arena and on paper after each quarter, which is more of a college wrinkle to the tournament. It's fun to talk to these coaches from all different states because the rules state to state really do vary quite a bit. Fade away from Fland is no good. McNeely snaps one ahead to Flag. Pulls up in front of 2 defenders, misses the long 2, and the rebound brought in by Amir Sullivan.
So the National Federation does not have a set standard for all 50 states, but when you're running a tournament like this, you have the option to opt into some of, like the shot clock, like you said. And so it's interesting for states that don't play, for example, with the shot clock. Florida currently does not have a mandatory shot clock.
I believe they just added the shot clock last year for the first time. Of course, when teams go up late in the game, they will burn as much clock and just play keep away, which is not what people pay the big money to see here at the City of Palms Classic. But it is a full 35-second reset on an offensive rebound, where in college it's 20. So offensive rebounds and fouls are critical because you get the reset if it's a defensive foul. There's a turnaround jumper off the mark from Ratliff. Flans to the wing. Ritvo knifes his way through, collides with Queen. No call there, and Ritvo makes the floater.
And I think some of those no calls will come when the scoreboard is the way it is. You don't like to see that as a coach. You want to reward your players for doing the right thing and trying to take a charge.
Oh, Queen with a pretty post move. Feathery lefty finish.
Yeah, Queen, like you had said a couple years ago, he was a work in progress, and he just looks polished now. The next thing for him is working on his body and getting some more muscles.
Yeah, well, since he was here 2 years ago, he's lost 20 pounds. And there he is, scooping up the loose ball, and now we'll show off some handles as he plays it ahead to Robert Wright III. 3 off the heel of the rim, long rebound to Ritvo. Fland changes direction, takes McNeely one-on-one, puts it up off the window and scores! Chance for a three-point play for Boogie.
Yeah, Boogie, we've talked about it before. There's a reason he's going to Kentucky, and he is such a smooth player. And you know he was looking forward to this contest.
Yeah, you can see he had no intention of actually banking that in. Flipped it up as close to the rim as he could. Not a great angle, but got the shooter's touch. And can cash in here to cut it back down to 17 after Montverde was up by 20. And he does.
So, John, just an example of a bench player for Montverde. Saw number 21 out there, Caden Allen. He's a sophomore, 6'5". He's not ranked on ESPN in his class. However, offers Arizona State, Georgia, Georgia State, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, Washington, UCF. And that's just a random bench guy.
And he's a sophomore.
Sophomore.
Some
Correct.
teams don't really offer guys till they're juniors. Baseline drive. And that falls for Hassan Qureshi. Coach Massaroni mentioned the 3 freshmen who played in this tournament last year off the bench. They're now sophomores, and he thinks they all can contribute a little bit more in this year's tournament than they did last year. Archbishop Stepinac did play in the quarterfinals last year as well. They lost in the quarters, ended up going 2-2 in the City of Palms Classic as Queen fires one into the crowd.
Well, that's the first bad pass we've seen him throw. He's been pretty consistent with his passing.
You see, Greg, in a college game where there's really no true centers anymore, you can see Queen has developed those skills where he can play for really any program. On the drive, this is Ritvo. Missed it. Queen clears, lobs ahead to McNeely. Defense gets back. Queen runs the floor and jams it.
I just love seeing that develop.
Good hands.
The great rebound, the great outlet pass. He sees an open lane. He just runs that lane. McNeely to have the foresight to see that.
Well, Stepinac did a good job on the initial Montverde players in transition, and then Queen just trailing the play blew the whole thing up.
And the trailer, if you're a three-point shooter, you're going to trail for a 3. If you're Queen, you just keep running that open lane as long as it's open.
Queen with 14 points here in the first half.
And I can't stress enough at this level to have high school teammates that could recognize the openings like that, because a lot of times that's where a regular high school kid struggles, where he doesn't see that, oh, my teammates, he's got a wide open look, because they just don't see the next play in advance, the next pass in advance, and these guys seem to.
So advanced. I feel like when you practice against guys at this caliber every day, you can make humongous gains. As the 3 is off the mark from McNeely. Transition opportunity. Qureshi contested 2. No. Weak side rebound and putback is good. That is Josiah Jervis with the 2. Allen the other way, hangs in the air, missed the layup. Queen comes in for 2 more. Garbage points, and 16 of them now for Derek Queen.
You call them garbage points, but
Well, those
and
two
he
were
is cleaning up. He is working that, and he is cleaning up.
It has gotten really smooth and effortless for Queen underneath. Chervis one-on-one. Gives it up. Head fake from Dylan Perry. To the corner. Gabriel. Lefty shot way off. Here's Allen now with under 2 minutes to go in the opening half. McNeely to the rim, draws the foul.
So a minute 39. Stepinac has subbed a little bit, but they're having to work so hard on every possession, defensively and offensively. And this is where a game can really get out of hand. It's already a 16-point lead.
Yeah, Flan had been off the court for a couple minutes, so they will bring him back in. One of the strengths for this Stepinac team is their backcourt. Just Flan and Carbuccia as a combination. Really good on the ball, make good decisions, can drive downhill. Better than most high school backcourts in the country, but it's just a different ball of wax when you're playing Montverde.
So full court pressure now by Montverde. Just a little oh no, I thought it was going to be a little token pressure, but Allen stayed back.
Flan from the logo off the mark, knocked around, and out of bounds to Montverde. Well, Flan is not shy to let it fly from well beyond the three-point arc. Of course, you've got the college three-point lines drawn here at Florida Southwestern, one of the top junior college programs in the country. But it is that inner line that we are looking at. There's a turnaround, lefty floater no good. There's Queen again. 18 first half points for Derek Queen.
Let's see, where are those final four offers from?
Please read it again.
Kansas, Maryland, Houston, Indiana.
You know who I'm rooting for.
That would be Maryland.
Terps need a commit. They don't have anybody right now in that class. The Queen has been high on their list for a couple of years now.
You know, John, you see Maryland scattered on some of these lists. I don't see Valparaiso scattered on. What is Valpo doing? Come on, Coach Powell.
They're staying in their lane in the Midwest. As Allen comes back in for Montverde with 52 seconds to go.
We're no longer the Crusaders. We're now the Beacons.
Oh, goodness.
But, yeah, they're not getting any of these Power 5 type guys.
I think this is the first time in 5 or 6 years that Maryland has not had a commit at the City of Palms Classic. They've recruited some of these academies pretty hard. A lot of good Midwest programs out here, too. We're going to see the Link Academy in our next game out of Branson, Missouri. At three off the mark. Allen the offensive rebound. Newell leans in and scores off the window. Asa Newell's been pretty quiet. The number 11 senior in the class banks that one in.
So, John, we don't have live stats as of now. We'll get them at halftime. But the only knock so far that I've noticed on Montverde is their perimeter shooting. In particular, Robert Wright, who is the Baylor commit, just has not had touch from beyond the arc.
Well, I can tell you that in their last game, they scored 62 points in the paint.
Yes.
So they don't necessarily need to make a lot of threes, but you're right. They have not been taking too many nor making very many. But their defensive pressure, for if you're kind of just putting the 3 or 4 academies in one class, I just feel like Montverde's defense is more relentless and more together than some of the other top programs we're going to see here tonight. And that's what really separates them, because Link Academy and IMG both have 8 or 9, and even Paul VI for that matter, all have 8 or 9 ranked players on their team.
So good awareness there by Stepinac. They had 1 foul to give. No, they've got another foul to give still. I'm sorry. They've got 2 more fouls to give. So they'll probably do a couple quick fouls here to make sure Montverde doesn't get a clean look
Yeah,
with
the only
3.7 left.
Perry won't be fouling. He has 2. Everybody else will. Flagg gets the lob. There's the foul, but it's in the act of shooting. And so Cooper Flagg will go to the free throw line.
I just giggle because you can't do anything about that. They got the quick foul, but they weren't expecting it to be a lob at the rim.
So Flagg will line him up. First one perfect. Stepinac, it doesn't look like it with the 47 points on the board, but they have done a little bit better job defending here in the second quarter compared to the first. And at the very least, they're on a better defensive pace than the Cannon School was in the first round when Montverde scored 110. Fland from more than half court, misses it wide left, and that'll do it for half number 1. What a half it was for the Eagles. Montverde Academy looking for their 5th City of Palms championship in 5 tries as they've got themselves a 22-point lead. We will step aside and we'll be back in 9 minutes for the start of the second half here in our second quarterfinal of the week.
Good?
Yeah, I'm going to go grab some water from down there.
Yeah. I'll be here.
Cool. Yeah, halftime's quick. We bring you back live inside the Suncoast Credit Union Arena in Fort Myers, Florida, as we take a look at the City of Palms Classic bracket. And Greg, so many numbers, so many ranked teams here in this event. Winner of this game will play either PVI from Virginia or IMG Academy from Bradenton.
And if this score holds up, which 48-26, 22-point lead, PVI, IMG, Montverde has already played IMG once this year, both teams right here in Florida. Sort of a one-sided contest, Montverde's way. So, yeah, John, you're going to have a great night tonight calling these games.
And here are the stats of this game here at halftime. Stepinac shooting just 31%. The three-point shooting, you said that might have been a weakness for Montverde. The percentage is pretty good.
Yeah, I had sort of specifically talking about Robert Wright. I don't have his individual stats, but you look at Stepinac. You were going to look at a couple things. How can you upset a team like this? You're going to need Montverde to get in foul trouble. They didn't get in foul trouble. Stepinac's going to have to shoot lights out. They didn't shoot lights out. And then you saw getting killed on the boards, 22-13.
Yeah, the boards is a big factor as well. Derek Queen was the star of the first half, 18 points for Queen, and then Wright and Flagg both had 10. Asa Newell trying to get going. He launches a three and buries it. Newell had 6 in the first half. He's got 9 overall.
Yeah, and it was such a luxury that these Montverde guys, they really don't have anything to prove. They're not out here trying to impress the first 2 rows here. Although there's some NBA guys here this year, that's a little bit of a change. Because they're already committed, they're already signed, they could just play loose.
Josiah Jervis hits the 3. Yes, this tournament got NBA certified a couple months ago, so there are 2 rows dedicated to scouts as Newell jams it.
That's 5 quick ones for Newell.
Perfect pass, too. Hit him high, and he able to flush it home. But yeah, it's been fun to watch the NBA logos come in and out. Most of them we don't recognize, but a lot of folks in windbreakers and polos and different types of team gear with those NBA logos, and of course, plenty of college coaches here as well. We mentioned John Shire watching this game. Of course, Cooper Flagg will be playing for him next year as Carbuccia airballs a 3. We've got assistants in the building from Colorado, West Virginia. We had the Rutgers and Texas staffs here yesterday as Boogie Flan lost it on the way up, and that is all the way out of bounds.
Yeah, so a good steal. Cooper Flagg got caught trying to do a spin move into a double team that he didn't know was there. But then almost looked like Flan was trying to find somebody that was trailing to shoot a 3 maybe that didn't exist.
Kind of felt like he got caught in between a pass and a layup. Here's Flagg taking Flan off the dribble, pulls up from 8 feet and hits it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I overheard somebody at halftime talking about, seeing Cooper Flagg all over social media in this past year, to now see him in person. And he's answering every question I had. Not that my questions mean anything, but he's legit.
Well, I think when anyone comes to a game to see the number 1 player, they're just naturally looking to poke holes in him and see, is this guy really deserving of the number 1 spot? And I think it's been a resounding yes for anyone who's watched Flagg this week.
But, John, I can't get over that he should be a junior, that he reclassified. I'm just going to skip a grade. I mean, how many guys stay back a year to grow physically, to get an extra year, and he's, I'll just take that year.
Well, usually when you reclassify, you drop down the rankings because you're going up against older, more mature players. He went up to number 1 when he reclassified. That one knocked around by Newell and shovels it up ahead to Flagg. Right feeds Newell for the jam.
That I've talked about it before in the first half, the awareness, the chemistry that these guys have, the unselfish play. I've been so impressed by some of the assists tonight than anything else.
Ritvo drives hard. Wild hook shot off the window doesn't go. Right, the 3rd, quickly back the other way. Flagg, head of steam, rises high. Oh, goodness, Cooper Flagg. He took off from the free throw line.
And again, and I'm not trying to be a contrarian here. It's unbelievable, the athleticism right there, what he just did, and a nice real answer by Flan there. But a lot of players can do that. That doesn't make him the #1 player in the country. It's everything else. And we haven't seen him square up too much and shoot from outside, but he's just got a perfect jump shot.
Yeah, he can do that in bunches. He's been more assertive getting downhill in this game. He has not been met by as many double teams as he was in the opening round against the Cannon School. So he's had some opportunities to operate in space, which I think is probably part of the reason he decided to move to Florida from Maine, because if he was still in Maine, they'd be triple teaming him every single night. Playing with a bunch of other stars as well allows him to operate in his own terms and let the talent shine through, which it certainly has tonight. 14 points now for Flagg. And the headliner, who most of these folks in the crowd came to see, again, most of the fans here are pretty neutral. They are here to see the talent on display, and they have been satisfied with what they've seen from Flagg.
For Stepinac, he's got 13 points now. Boogie Flan, who's committed to Kentucky. It was a great timeout right after that bucket. It gets them back to 28. But like you had mentioned before, we talked about the running clock. They were just down 30, on the verge there of 3-4 possessions, and boom, it's a running clock, which I absolutely hated in high school. And usually it was, I had some pretty good teams, and you didn't want that running clock because you wanted opportunities. There you go again.
Perfect pass from Flagg, and Newell takes care of business.
The awareness where their teammates are and the unselfish play is just special. But I hated the running clock because you couldn't have opportunities for the bench guys to get in. And so we'd try to hover it right around 30. But it might be a different situation when you're playing a tournament. You've got a lot of games here in the next couple days.
Well, we were told earlier by one of the coaching staffs in one of the other games, as Flan misses the layup, that in some states and certainly in some AAU events, that when a team goes up by 30, they just call the game. It's like baseball in a mercy rule. When you go up by 10, you walk it off and you go home. And apparently, I think it might be the state of Georgia, that if a team goes up by 30 in the second half, the game is just over.
Oh, I would not want that.
They do it in AAU. That makes a little more sense because you're playing multiple games in a day. So no need to burn the legs if you've got to play again. But here in Florida, 35 points on the margin, and you get running clock as Carbuccia earns a trip to the free throw line. He has not been as assertive as we expected. He's been one of the top players for Stepinac the last couple seasons. Comes in averaging only 9 points per game. But he's got a lot of Division I offers. A lot of the Big East teams are interested in him, including two of the local programs for Stepinac. That would be Seton Hall and St. John's, getting plenty of attention from them. And Pittsburgh's in on the mix. A lot of mid-majors as well for Carbuccia's services.
Well, when you're going up against a loaded team like this, it's going to be hard to stand out.
He has 6 points now after that one. Flagg couldn't quite handle the lob along the baseline.
He's asking for a little bit of a hold. Didn't get it. And I think Cooper Flagg is trying to trick the official into, give me the ball. I got held there. And that's one thing we haven't seen. The officials have not blown the whistle too much tonight. There's only one foul so far in this third quarter. So for the second half, neither team was in the bonus in the first quarter. So they are letting them play a little bit.
Yeah, one foul through 5 minutes here in the third quarter as Flan splashes it home.
Yeah, nice little step back. Quick release.
Future Kentucky Wildcat building his highlight reel in this game. 16 points for Flan. Averages 20 on the year. Put back by Newell doesn't go. Got it again. Goes up strong and missed it. That one along the end line, saved by Archbishop Stepinac. This is Sullivan dishing. Kick to Flan. Open for three. In and out. And Newell snatches the rebound. Inside it goes. Turnaround and a foul. That is Ace Flagg, the other birthday boy and twin brother of Cooper, earning a couple of free throws.
First action of the night this evening for Ace. Once again, as freshmen, they played back in their hometown of Maine with their older brother, who was a senior that year. And they won a state championship together. So that had to be a very special night for the Flagg family.
Yeah, Ace is going to play in college, too. He's only 2 inches shorter than his brother. He's 6'7", Cooper 6'9".
Ace has an offer from FGCU right down the street.
McNeely in and out. That one out of bounds, and it'll stay on this end. Of course, FGCU, by far the closest Division I program to this arena. Only about a 20-minute drive from here.
So, John, you saw a current FGCU freshman play here last year.
Ramir Barno. He was the City of Palms Classic MVP, the point guard for Imhotep in Philly. Queen lays it up and in. He was extremely impressive. Had a buzzer beater, I believe, in the semifinals to send Imhotep on. Their defense was relentless. They were here one of the tournaments before COVID, I believe, with Dante Scott. Those Philly teams come in with some toughness. Archbishop Ryan is the Philly representative this year. They're 0-2, but have played 2 pretty competitive games as that one goes for Dylan Perry.
I think Dylan Perry definitely got away with the travel there. He lifted up that pivot foot, but good effort for him nonetheless.
Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get to a running clock here in the third quarter. Stepinac continues to play their best. Flagg, oh yeah, knocks down the triple.
Yeah, and that's that square up that we hadn't seen too much facing the basket. Just such a smooth, difficult to defend shot.
And a dunk on the other side for Adonis Ratliff. Ratliff, one of 4 players at 6'8" on Stepinac. Nobody taller than that on the roster. Queen turns, righty pass to McNeely, who draws the foul in traffic underneath.
So McNeely had a choice there. He could have stayed at the perimeter for a kick-out 3, decides to crash, got the opportunity, once again because unselfish play by teammates. It's like if it's a drinking game, I've said it way too many times tonight, but just one thing, the number one thing I've been impressed so far watching this team live is how unselfish they are.
And again, that's what separates Montverde from the other academies. The other academies have similar levels of talent, maybe a little bit less than Montverde, but when the roster changes so much year to year, it's hard to develop the chemistry you need to play like this, and Montverde is able to do it.
And again, we talked about it before. These guys know, for the most part, with the exception of Queen, what their plan is, and Queen's got a pretty nice Final Four to choose from. So they're not out there trying to get theirs. They've already gotten it.
It's a good point. Flan's long 2 is no good. Flagg collects the rebound and plays it ahead to right. Allen, a sophomore, gives it up. And a breakaway for Archbishop Stepinac and another dunk, this time for Perry. Final 30 seconds here in the third quarter. Bounce pass. And an and-one opportunity for Caleb Gaskins.
I didn't give Gaskins a whole lot of
thought or attention.
Well, I didn't think that was going to go in. I thought it was just, all right, I'll take the foul, I'll go to the free throw line. How he was able to get that off was pretty impressive.
Gaskins, the number 6 sophomore in the country, according to ESPN. Speaking of ESPN, our own Paul Biancardi is sitting courtside again tonight. He posts up here the whole week, watching these top teams go head-to-head to help inform his rankings. And I believe he'll be on the call of the semis and finals the next 2 nights, which will be on ESPNU. Caressi working on Flagg. Steps back and shoots over him, but missed it short. Flag might have gotten a piece. Queen's pass up ahead. Right the third, lost the handle. Fland tight ropes the sideline, and he's got an easy 2. And he scores right before the buzzer to bring it back down to a 26-point margin. At the end of 3 quarters, it's Montverde 70 and Archbishop Stepinac 44 as we take a look at that last play. Or this was the dunk from Flag.
Yeah, so but the last 3 minutes or so got a little bit sloppy for Montverde offensively with a couple turnovers, but you got a 26-point lead. You got Stepinac that's playing hard, so you expect a little bit of that.
Flag scored a team-high 22 in the first round win. Also had 7 rebounds, was 10 for 14 from the field in 19 minutes and 46 seconds. Everybody else played less than that. That's what amazes me, Greg, is they had 7 players score in double figures, and nobody played more than 19 minutes. So they made the most of their time on the court.
Yeah. So, John, you mentioned the ESPN and the rankings. I got to give a shout-out to what we're doing here. This League Ready on YouTube is really impressed. Watched a couple games yesterday. Had about 2,000 people watching us here tonight. I like that you could just log in. It's a free service. Great production.
And the ever-evolving world of online streaming. League Ready is certainly something to keep in mind. Follow them on social media. You can follow League Ready on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, Twix. We are all over the place. Of course, these games are free and available to you as you get a look at the newest piece of reading here at the City of Palms Classic, Dunks, Threes, and Palm Trees, written by a local writer, David Dorsey. And David will join us at halftime of our next game to talk about the book. Longtime sports writer here in this area, has covered a ton of City of Palms Classics, and we'll talk about the tournament in a historical perspective with him at halftime of our next game. Be sure to tune in. We've got Columbus and the Link Academy coming your way next. There'll be at least 15 minutes between games, so switch on over to that matchup once we're done here. Perry steps back from 15 and connects.
That was good offense there. That was good defense. It's impressive that Queen was able to laterally get in front without getting a foul called. That's just good both ways.
Right, the third hangs in the air and scores. Well, it doesn't look like Montverde's going to get to 110 points like they did in the first round, but this has still been an outstanding performance. Fland from the sideline missed it. Good save, but it ends up with Caden Allen, who plays it ahead to Flag. 17 points so far for Flag, who sizes up the defender, shoots the 3, and buries it. 3 more for Cooper Flag. What do you think John Shire's thinking over there on the sidelines as that shot went in right in front of him?
Can he be there now? can he come at the semester? The old you don't see the basketball guys, the gray shirting.
Oh, Caden Allen showing off here in the fourth quarter.
Thanks to his friend Robert Wright III on another nice assist. Yeah, the football's got the advantage. So the most Power Fives, they want their guys graduating at the semester to show up on campus so they could have them for an extra semester, which obviously the basketball guys can't do that.
Based on the schedule, and of course in football they've got the spring games. They run some practices in March and April. We're going to have a line change coming here for Kevin Boyle and the Eagles, so we'll get to see the second unit come in. They've only got 11 players active on the roster, so it's not exactly like it's the walk-ons coming in. These are still ultra-talented guys, including McNeely, who's a unanimous top 25 recruit. Fland makes the first. Newell, McNeely. And our first look at Donnie Miller, number 2. A ranked sophomore who hasn't played yet.
And this is that perfect cushion. It's a 30-point game. You've got over 6 minutes of regular time, meaning not running clock. Great opportunity for these guys, these 5 new guys, to get on the floor, get some experience at the City of Palms. You expect that they will be back in a year or two.
Yeah, and you're playing in front of 2,000 fans. You don't get the opportunity to do that all that often. Neutral site tournament against a good opponent. McNeely connects on the triple.
And McNeely is the one headed to Indiana, so he is staying out on the court there. But also you got a bunch of scouts here, about a bunch of college guys. Might open some eyes, even though they know who these guys are. They know their ranking.
Oh, Boogie, so smooth.
There's our guy Boogie.
McNeely, by the way, is from the state of Texas, so if any of his Final Four is an advantage, maybe it's Houston, at least geographically, but obviously he hasn't been deterred from traveling, currently living in Florida, as there is ace flag on the jumper.
Now, McNeely's already signed. He's already signed with Indiana.
You're right.
Yep. It's Queen who's got those Final Four.
It's hard to keep track. So many good players.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's only going to continue in our next 2 games. The 4 teams you'll see on our air tonight also have 7, 8, 9 highly regarded recruits on their roster.
Are you calling both of those games?
Sure am.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
I get to go home after this. I'm at that age where I'd be conflating every roster and trying to figure out where any of these guys are going.
See, what helps is that they've all played once this week, so you got a chance to watch them in the first round and get a little bit of a feel as McNeely's 3 goes down, and it's up to 85 now for the Eagles with 4.5 minutes still to play.
Yeah, I could see McNeely doing that at Assembly Hall next year.
Fans would love it if that's the case. By the way, Stepinac last year at the City of Palms Classic, we mentioned it earlier, went 2-2. But in their games, they never allowed any of their opponents to score more than 58 points. They were one of the best defensive teams in the tournament. And here they've coughed up 85 playing Montverde. They only allowed 46 against Imhotep, the team we mentioned earlier that won the championship. A different type of game here. Free-flowing offense for the Eagles. There is Donnie Miller. Doesn't quite get the roll on the 3, and now it's Fland in a 2-on-2 situation. Steps back, shoots the 3, no. Ball batted around, and it is going to go the other way.
I know it's tough for Donnie Miller, who hasn't played much tonight, but that was a flat-looking 3. And I'm sure somebody's going to tell him that he's got to get a little arc underneath that. Once he gets warmed up a little bit, I'm sure if he has another opportunity, we won't see something like that again. And it's a nice little drive by him there.
Yeah, missed the 3, but scores on the drive. So Miller's on the board, and Coach Massaroni will use a timeout. Maybe we can get another look at the bracket as we get ready for our next 2 games here on League Ready. Jeff Blair will join us for the next 2. He's called this tournament for quite a while and has been calling some of the early round games. But there's what's coming up here on League Ready. Our next game will be between number 3 Link Academy out of Branson, Missouri, and number 5 Columbus High School from Miami. And of course, Columbus features the Boozer twins.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since you brought them up, Columbus played Montverde. We talked about it. It was a blowout early on ESPN. Watching the number 1 Boozer last year as a sophomore, you and I did the game here. What I could not get over was his ability to pass the ball. 3/4 of the court, looking effortless. And I remember saying this last year that LeBron was able to do that at that age. But for Columbus, that plays in the regular classification here in the state of Florida, I believe they're 7A. They've won the state championship a couple years in a row. Just to give you an indication that, you know, top 5 teams in the country, and they got blown out by Montverde, and it wasn't close.
The Boozers were a little quiet in the first round here this year. They still won by, I think, 30+. But it was a bit of a slow start. It was against Archbishop Ryan, the team you mentioned earlier from Philly. Archbishop Ryan had the lead in the first quarter of that game. There's a push-off and an offensive foul going against Caressi.
Yeah, you and I have done a handful of games. We've talked about any time an offensive player
extends,
you get that extension, you're going to get a call. But, John, I don't think we've mentioned Stepinac ranked 6th on Max Preps, 5th in the country.
9th by ESPN.
9th by ESPN.
There's McNeely on the flush.
But here we are, ESPN rankings, Max, whatever rankings you want to use, a top 10 team in the country, and it's a 38-point game.
The difference between number 1 and number 9 has been clear in this game. And Archbishop Stepinac has won plenty of games here in this tournament over the years. Montverde is at a very high level. There's McNeely again on a perfect feed from Miller. They bring in the second unit, and the chemistry is still there.
Yeah. And so you've got now the fourth quarter, it's just blown up Montverde's way. It's a 40-point game. You've got Lucas Lima. He's a senior, number 15 in the game, and he is one of those guys that a rare senior at Montverde that doesn't have offers, that is just on the team. So good opportunity for him to play.
He's the only guy unranked with no offers. He is from Sao Paulo, Brazil. So he is just getting comfortable here in the States, and I'm sure if Kevin Boyle added him to his roster, he thinks pretty highly of him, and I'm sure the college coaches will pay attention to these last 2.5 minutes and see if Lima can get something done for the Eagles. Looks like Josh Rivera is in for Archbishop Stepinac as well. There he is with the ball. Cross-court pass. That 3 comes up short from number 13, Howard Isley Jr., who just came in for the first time, and Isley Jr. gets the steal. He's pushing the other way. Sidesteps the defense, misses the reverse, but draws the foul.
So, John, it's a 40-point game, but that clock has stopped.
I wonder if it doesn't apply to the quarters, because we did see running clock in the first round.
I could see that, and I could also see where the guy in the clock is just
in awe of what's going on the court. I'm sure they're keeping an eye on the real clock as well. The next game not supposed to start till 7, so even if we play for a few more minutes here, they won't have to push that back more than just a couple minutes. Done a great job starting these games on time all week. A lot of times these tournaments can run behind schedule, but this game was delayed a little bit, but not a whole lot.
No, normally if you've got at least an hour and a half between games, a regular high school game, you're going to be okay.
And they schedule them an hour 45 apart.
Mm-hmm.
With a thought of a 15-minute warm-up between games. But the next game should be closer than this one. Number 3 versus number 5 in the country. Wing 3 is too strong from Ratliff.
And this game, the whistles just have not been blowing. No bonus in the first half, no bonus here in the second half, so this has been a quick game.
Well, the ratio of points to fouls is terrific. We'll take that any day.
Is that a stat? Did you just make up a stat?
I just made that up.
All right, I like that.
144 points and less than 20 fouls. It also means most of the points are happening within the flow of the action and not from the free throw line, which we also prefer. Allen met by a double, trying to rip it away from the defense. They're going to call a reach-in foul on Jack Coco, who has come in for Stepinac. 6-foot sophomore.
Anybody that's watching here on League Ready on YouTube, if you're really a stat head, if you could get a hold of the box score, they usually post them here pretty quickly, and we don't have it. We're up top. We're not at courtside. But the first thing I'm going to be looking at is the assists, because it just seems to me that the assists to point total for Montverde is going to be outstanding.
Yeah, if they've hit, 30 to 35 field goals, maybe 20 to 25 assists.
Yeah, I mean, anything over 15 to 18 assists is great in a high school game. You and I did some college games, about a month ago, and we were really struggling to find some assists in a couple of those games.
And in this tournament with so much individual talent, a lot of times guys are going one-on-one. The star players just trying to beat their man. This game has had a really nice flow. Reverse layup is good for Caleb Gaskins.
Yep, Gaskins, one of the higher-ranked sophomores.
Rivera pulls up from 15 and buries it.
So that's a thing, we've sort of implied it, but you could be on the roster right now as a sophomore, like Gaskins, and you just never know who's going to show up on your campus next year.
There's the fadeaway. Gaskins knocks it down. Right, so he's
a good-looking player.
He's trying to earn his minutes right now for this year and next year. Reverse to Coco. Final 10 seconds here. Ball went off the official. One last shot for Stepinac, and it comes up short. Well, the Montverde Eagles are moving on to the City of Palms semifinals, where they will play on ESPNU tomorrow night. Kevin Boyle's team marching on, looking for their 5th consecutive championship in this event. Win it by 40, 95-55 the final. Greg, some final thoughts?
Yeah, and John, it's I don't mean to say this because it's going to sound negative towards Archbishop Stepinac, but somewhat not a surprise, just because just take the Division I guys. You've got 6 seniors, 5 already signed. One of them has the Final Four. You've got, on the other hand, on the other side, one guy and another guy that's trying to get more offers. So just on paper alone, it's a mismatch. But then when you see it in person, you see how well they play together, the chemistry. That was the most impressive thing.
So there you see it, Montverde into the semifinals to play the winner of our late game tonight between PVI and IMG. But coming your way next, right here on League Ready at 7 o'clock, the Link Academy from Branson, Missouri against Miami's Columbus High School with the Boozer Brothers. All kinds of stars out at the City of Palms Classic. We appreciate you tuning in here on League Ready. For my partner, Greg Anderson, I'm John Vitas saying so long for now. We'll be back for our next game at 7 o'clock.